Welcome to the Businesses War podcast. My name is Elliot Foreman, and today our special guest is Patrice Farooq from Cupcake Kitchen Houston, now Cupcake Kitchen NOLA.
Yep.
And we want to talk to her about everything, including her journey, how she got here, how we are lucky enough to have her and spend some time with us today. So let's dig in. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, my first question is, your last name is Farooq, and that does not sound Spanish, and you're from Houston, Texas. So what does that mean?
Farooq is Arabic.
Arabic. Yes. Okay, all right. And that's the family thing, right?
That's our family last name, yes. My family is Muslim.
Okay, well then own it then, because you know what? If you asked me, I couldn't figure it out, but it's all good. Now I know. So listen, what's day one for you? How did you get into proprietorship, entrepreneurship, cooking? Now, do you have a background as a chef?
I do not.
Okay.
My background is in education.
Okay, and so you just decided one day to pick up a frying pan?
Well, I initially picked up no, I did. Yeah, you're right. I decided one day I wanted to cater outside of teaching.
Okay, all right. So it started out as a hustle.
It started out as a hustle.
Make room for me, because your gift will always open doors for you. So you decided that you were going to leave education, or you're going to transition from education into food service, and that started by way of doing catering jobs. Now, how would you get your first customers?
Okay, let me rewind a little bit, because it didn't go directly from teaching to food.
Okay.
I always had a hustle somewhere in teaching. I hosted a cheerleading competition for about 3 years in the Houston ISD school district, and then from there I went to doing meal prep for teachers, for my friends, things like that. The meal prep led to catering.
Okay.
So once I went to catering, of course that's in larger amounts.
It doesn't matter, because you were pulling threads.
I was pulling threads, right.
You keep pulling threads, you'll get there. Okay,
yes.
All right.
So I was literally self-taught. Initially, the internet wasn't what it is back when I started. So I would watch the Food Network and get recipes from the Food Network, which means I had to write everything down. I would get some information from searching the net, but for the most part, that's how I got a lot of my recipes. And so I went from cooking and catering to my friends, to family, to my coworkers, and then I started to bake. Someone invited me to a carnival, and they needed a setup for just desserts. And so I did desserts, and the desserts I was able to produce more in a shorter period of time, and that was more in aligned with my time frame of being able to teach and hustle. So for the most part, I was able to get a lot more done, make the money, and so that's where Cupcake Kitchen came about. Okay, so
Cupcake Kitchen was a pastry setup initially.
Initially, yes.
But you started to cook food.
I cooked food prior, which was my catering business. The name of my catering business was P3 Catering. So I did have a catering business prior to Cupcake Kitchen. Cupcake Kitchen came about when I started to do the desserts. And then, like I say, it was less time consuming. And so I still did food, but not on a scale of the desserts. The desserts was a bigger scale. And so the desserts was more popular. I was really good at marketing, so I was able to build my platform using the desserts.
Okay.
Once I got to a point where it was taking up a lot of my time while away from teaching, that's when I decided to leave the classroom and go into my first brick and mortar.
So basically, your hustle made you leave your job, your just over broke job.
Right.
No disrespect to jobs, because everybody needs them.
Right.
In order to see growth, you had to go ahead and give one the attention it needed.
I had to. And I literally did it for about 6 months straight, where I was doing the bakery and teaching. I had the store. I opened the store in 2014 of September, and I was still teaching. So I would literally go to work. I would get up at 3 a.m. I would bake from 3 to 6. I would start to prepare to go to work after 6. I would go to work. I would leave work at 3:15, 3:30. I would go home and get the product. I would go to the brick and mortar. I would open up at about 3. Well, I had someone that was there already, so I would open up and I would close about 7:30, 8 in the evening. Did that for about 4 months. And then the weekends, we would sell out every weekend. And so around...
That's terrible, by the way. Because if you're selling out, that means that you ain't making enough.
I'm not married yet. So around December, I knew I had to make a decision going into the new year of 2015, because it was just, my life was literally...
You was gonna stop teaching.
Yeah, I was gonna stop teaching. And my mother didn't want me to stop teaching, but I was like, it was just too much. My time was just, I didn't have any time to do anything else but work. So in January, latter of January 2015, I decided to resign from education, and I left in February. And we were in a small location. My first location was only about 300 square feet. Like,
wow.
We literally only
That's
had,
small.
yeah, it was like a closet. We had a refrigerator, we had a counter, and the back was like just enough space for an oven.
You should have pictures, because most entrepreneurs think that it's supposed to be some corporate glamorous office. It never starts like that.
It never starts
It
like
is
that.
a closet.
Right.
It's a closet with no air conditioner and no windows.
Right.
And you got to get up in there and you got to burn and churn and you got to get it to work, because you know what you're doing? You're shooting reps.
Right.
And most people don't understand that.
Right.
But so, and I'm not really big on pastries, simply because I attribute them to weight gain and bad diet and stuff like that. But there's such a sweet thing, and it's got its own space in the food network. But back to you watching the Food Network, doing research, because your background in education, you applied your same learning techniques to the next venture of your life.
Right. So another thing I would do outside of, till this day, I research everything I do. So I would always research what was the top, what was the top bakery in the country? What was the top restaurant in the country? What were the top selling desserts in the country? And I read an article on Forbes at the time. I was still teaching. And the article stated that in order to build a brand in the dessert industry, you had to sell more than just cupcakes. So that's where Cupcake Kitchen came into play, because I knew I would do more than cupcakes. I just didn't know it was going to take me where it took me.
What else besides cupcakes? Oh, so cupcakes was the primary weapon.
That was the primary. I did all desserts. I did brownies, I did cookies, I did cakes, I did pies. So it was a full-scale bakery. Just the name was just Cupcake. So I always tell people it's similar to Cheesecake Factory. Cheesecake Factory, the name is Cheesecake, but the brand was.
So you had your target, a global brand that was actually doing it and doing it well, and you said, okay, I got it. And to most entrepreneurs out there, please don't just sit here and think that you know everything. Find somebody in the market that's doing what you want to do, doing it potentially better on a bigger scale, and figure out a way to research and develop. That's what that term means.
Right.
Okay, all right. So we adding food now.
Right. So at the time, even during that time, I researched companies that were outside of Texas. I researched companies up north. Nowadays, you see a lot of people duplicate the same of where they're at. They don't go outside of that, and that can leave you stagnant when everybody's cooking the exact same thing. So I researched businesses that were outside the loop, and so incorporated their strategies into what I did, and that was another thing that kind of enhanced the look of the food, or just people wanting to try something different. So so we went from desserts, and I circled back to food when we got to our third location. We grew out of the first location, the 300 square feet. We went into a 1,200 square foot building. That building wasn't really equipped for, we had to literally build out a kitchen in there.
Okay.
So our lease was ending in that location. My brother saw a Subway that had a for lease sign that was right up the street.
Okay.
And he called me. He was like, there's a Subway up the street that has a lease sign. Gave him a call, went through the process. We knew that Subway had a grease trap. You had to have a grease trap permitting wise in order to sell food. And so we went into the Subway in, I want to say 2017 or something like that. And so when we were in there, it was a bar next door. And so it was always a large crowd in that area. And so I said, I need to do something else outside. Desserts is not going to hold me in this building, especially with what I was paying for rent. And so I created what was called Munchies After Dark. So Munchies After Dark.
Innovation 101. So you're constantly pulling threads. You're looking for ways to increase the margin, the profitability. You're working on your business, even though you've had some success. And that's when you realize that you're constantly climbing rungs up the ladder. Most people don't. Because you're ready for this. A lot of businesses, they age out real quick.
Right.
So you know what they call those? They call those one-trick ponies.
Right.
And so you have to be able to be in a position to constantly continue to grow and to make adjustments, keep the hood up, and keep working on your stuff.
Right.
So now we doing Munchies After Dark.
We're doing Munchies After Dark.
Now who's going to be up in there all night cooking?
So the thing about Munchies After Dark, it technically wasn't after dark. It started in the evening time. So we started about 5 o'clock, and we would go until we would sell out. I know. But for the most part, a lot of it had to do with manpower, what we could produce and keep it good quality. So I would do, we did seafood. The menu was seafood and soul food. So we had oxtails, we had smothered chicken, we had...
Now, just so I can say this out loud, you went from cupcakes to oxtails.
I did.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
So Munchies After Dark, again, I was really good at marketing and things of that nature. So we created a flyer to advertise what time it would start. We knew that area was like a late night area. Again, it was a bar next door. So it would start at like 5 o'clock, and people started to come and buy the food. So then people started asking, when are you going to start selling at lunchtime? Why don't you open up for lunchtime? And we only did it on certain days of the week also. It wasn't every day. So when the demand grew, then that's when we decided to go full scale with the food. And the restaurant end of it started around 2018, I want to say. So the food became an all-day thing. When we opened up, we sold food and desserts. So the desserts were already popular. So you would have people that would come in and they would order food, and then while they're waiting for their food, they would order desserts.
Okay.
So the price per ticket, increased. So that is when the business really began to grow, expand.
So supply and demand. So they needed lunch. You gave them lunch. You continue to accommodate your customer base. Okay, all right. How long of a good run did you have with the Munchies After Dark next to the club?
Munchies After Dark did well. When we started to sell the food during the day is when Munchies After Dark kind of phased out, because we began to have to fight with parking in the park with the club next door. You have valet parkers who come in. That's a $1 million business, maybe $1 billion business when it comes to valet. Like, that's where the clubs make their money. So it was like a war. Like, every weekend we were having to go back and forth about them charging our customers to park or trying to charge our customers to park, our customers not having anywhere to park. So then it was like I had to make a decision. Like, do I sit here and keep fighting in the evening time, or do I move it earlier where we can have more control over the parking? And so we moved, so we kind of phased out being open late night and went to more of a daytime scale. From that is when we opened up the cafe, which was, we started brunch actually. And that was, it was a unit next door that became available. It was a tax office, and it became available. And we took the lease on for that unit, and then we took the wall down, put a door, and put a dining room, and then we expanded the kitchen on that side to where we created a dining room where customers could come and sit down and dine in and eat.
So that's really what expansion looks like. It's constantly listening to your customer. And I teach that to entrepreneurs all the time. You mean to tell me that you don't know what the market is asking, your customers are not communicating with you, you're not listening?
No, yeah.
Okay. Recently, a restaurant here in New Orleans just went cashless. And I know why they did it. They are comfortable paying credit card fees because they feel like it's a better move for them to just go cashless because they can control more of it. That's a pivot. That's something that a lot of people wouldn't be comfortable with, especially in a service industry where tips are so heavy, right?
Right.
So if you make everything plastic, then that means that the tips are going to go down in cash.
True.
And a lot of the service staff depend on those tips, right?
Right.
So that's very interesting. So give me some advice. How in the hell did you brand your company to the point to where people were looking for Cupcake Kitchen Houston for food? They done forgot about the Patriots to some degree, even though the cupcakes were a hot item and have been. You are a branding phenomenon. Your social media pages are up. People know what it is. Your name is ringing around the community. So how do you communicate to the customer?
To me, it was all about creating an experience. Everybody wanted to have that experience of coming to Cupcake Kitchen.
Gotcha.
And again, the name was unique because it was a dessert name. And so you're looking at, I can go here and get an oxtail dinner or a crab cake dinner or jerk chicken wings and, cabbage and things like that.
Well, please hurry up and bring that to New Orleans. But go ahead.
So that, the idea of wanting to just try us is what customers were looking for when they came to visit us. We really became a household name. We had a lot of customers that would travel from Louisiana, from Chicago, they were coming from all over during that time, before COVID, of course, when we opened up the dining room and went full scale with the food.
Alcohol beverages?
No alcohol. We didn't sell any alcohol. And that's something, it's something because people would always ask, they would come in asking for drinks and things like that. And it was never an option to really sell alcohol. And we did really well. We had a really good run without the alcohol. So, I always tell people, you don't have to incorporate alcohol to...
No, you don't. No, you don't. Mm-hmm. But because we understand margins and how restaurants struggle to keep enough... I mean, like, you'd have to charge $30 on a hamburger in order to make it really financially feasible.
True.
But alcohol is such a great thing at a $20 bottle that'll generate you $200, $300 on a return. So we're talking about 10x for real, right? But you can't 10x a hamburger. Right. And so when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, to every municipality in the world that has food service people that are taking risks trying to put margins on plate, let them sell alcohol. Stop putting them through stuff. Long as they ain't criminals, long as they ain't up in there selling guns in the same location, let them sell alcohol. And the reason I say that is because I hate when government gets involved with people that's tax paying and trying to do the right thing. There's got to be a sweet spot in the middle. Okay, so all that wonderful stuff that took place in Houston, Texas, years of success and growth and change and evolution and pivot and things of that nature, why move to New Orleans? So
the thing about New Orleans was, and a lot of people don't know this, but some do. I was frequent of New Orleans prior to me actually relocating here. We would come for Bayou Classic, we would come for Essence, we would come for all the big festivals. So I already had gained, some type of comfort with being here. So during COVID, Texas was open. Everywhere else had shut down. So because Texas was open, we were still working. We weren't at home like everyone else.
Side note, I'd like to see the numbers of the people that lost jobs and lost everything they had in Louisiana because the entire economy was shut down as we were band-aiding through COVID. And then we go and look at the alternative right next door at Texas, and it didn't stop at all. So y'all just was business as usual with masks.
Everybody getting sick and everything. But we
that's kind of not funny because listen, we were in straight quarantine and people was having anxiety attacks because they hadn't seen a human in 2 weeks. No,
we were going through it. We were having employees say they couldn't come, and you just have to figure out how to keep going because it was ongoing because we still were being exposed to a certain extent. And so from there we went from during COVID. So during COVID, because we were wide open, it was like we were still working. I would visit New Orleans to get away from the noise in Houston because it was just like, it was nonstop. It wasn't like we had it was kind of calm, but not like other cities. So I had friends here, so I would visit here, and of course the flights were cheaper. The 5-star hotels were cut in half, so you could come in and have a great experience for little or nothing during that time. Yeah. So
because we wasn't making no money, we had no economy.
Right. Yeah. So true. So I would visit here, and so during that time is when I kind of, I would say between 21, 22 is kind of when I really started to learn the culture of New Orleans, and I saw what opportunity was in New Orleans. And so fast forward to post-COVID, and now we're really feeling COVID and what happened with COVID and the inflation and how everything, everybody went on these, spending sprees, but now it's like catching up to us. So now everyone's holding on to their money. No one's spending money.
I don't think they have any money.
Well, yeah. You don't think they have any money or had any money from the beginning?
Well, listen, A, B, and C. Let me tell you. Today, the U.S. economy is filled with credit. Sure. So many people are over-leveraged and they're spending money that they don't even have and have not earned yet. And so when I say I don't believe people have any money, I'm like, look, we're in a plastic economy right now.
Yeah, true. I believe that.
And so, the number of restaurants that are closing every day, the number of office buildings that are empty, AI is coming for the job. The name of the podcast is Business is War because I know how hard it is to grow and sustain a business today. Just because you're successful in the month of January, you got to make it 11 more months.
Oh, yeah.
And so most people don't realize that. And so when you see a big name like Palace Cafe go out of business on the iconic Canal Street due to a real estate battleground.
Right.
Let's talk about real estate. So you're in Texas, you have your location, you're in the subway, you're dealing with next door neighbors and all that other kind of stuff. How much more successful would it have been, or would you have been, if you had a landlord that was really tapped in and plugged into your success?
Oh, I would probably still be in my building if I had a landlord.
See, that is bad for the people who came
my
here.
landlord was a crook.
Think about it.
He was a crook.
You know what? I wrote it in my book that I don't understand why so many people get into real estate.
And you don't see that until you get into that situation where you need your landlord.
Yeah.
As long as they're getting their money every month, you're their best friend.
I understand that
They're
completely.
calling to check on you and making sure, they communicate with you all the time about whatever problems you have. But once you get to the point where you like, hey, this is happening right now, or because even during COVID, we were never behind because we were still open, and people were going into trying to save everything, their homes, everything. And so once we got to that point of post-COVID, where now it's like, okay, I need some help. Yeah. And it's like it was foreign language to
better call
him.
Jesus because landlords don't help.
He wasn't trying to, yeah. So, so it got to a point to where what I saw, and there was a lot of not listening to some of what the economists were saying also, because they were saying that around 2023, 2020, we were going to feel it. So if we were more in tune with that language, then I think we probably would have prepared better for what eventually came. I think it could have been, I don't think we could have avoided what happened, because you see it's still happening now. But I feel like
that's how it works though.
Yeah.
So what happened is, you get cut now, you won't feel it till later. Or you have a problem today, the impacts of it will cascade over time, because that's the one thing that most people don't understand, is that time is equal to everything. It's a part of anything that you're ever going to deal with. It's just the way life works. Okay? 7 is nothing compared to 70.
Right.
Okay? Because it's the compound effect. But listen, let's talk about employees. How do you grow a business today with today's labor force?
It's hard. You talking about somebody who went from having, 10 to 15 employees to now I'm down to, me, my son, and whomever else I can recruit on, because it's still an ongoing battle. Once I decided to close and I moved out of my locations, my next move I wanted to do, because everybody became mobile, the food truck industry blew up.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, okay, well, let me try that. But it wasn't as easy as I would have, thought it would have been, because we were still fighting with, you're not making any money right now, so how are you going to produce if you're not making any money? So I had to rebrand. And a lot of times it's a scary feeling to rebrand, because you feel like, well, I was able to do this. Why can't I fix this?
Yeah, well, guess what? Last year's and the year before that's operational skill set and, whatever is not the same as today.
Right, you're right.
Because the equations aren't the same. And when I tell people, I'm like, yo, listen, y'all, everybody wants to be a boss. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but everybody has to start with being an employee.
Right.
And that's something that we miss in culture, and so I think probably every generation was just as bad, but I think it's just more exacerbated now, because think about it,
Well, no one wants to work now. So you're dealing with a generation of children who are young adults who don't physically want or feel like they don't have to. Like, they have TikTok videos where they're talking about how they go into interviews and they're asking them where their strengths, their weaknesses, and they're like, do you want to hire me or not? Because it's almost like you need me, I don't need you. So that mentality alone makes the job, the recruiting.
That's why AI is coming.
Yeah.
I'm looking to hire 2 AI people right now. Bring the robots up in here today.
Right.
And they never late. They don't have an attitude. They do whatever they're told to do. And I'm not saying that human beings have to be robots, but human beings, it's okay to be a real human, to have real feelings and real emotions and things like that. I think that's what makes companies great, is that you have personality.
Right, true.
But at the same time, when reliability is in the toilet, we have to have a conversation about that.
I went into a business here. And I literally, when I went in this business, it made me want to use this structure if I ever went into a brick and mortar.
Okay, break it down for me.
The name of the business is called Pasta on the Fly.
Okay.
And my son said he wanted some pasta, went in the phone, typed in pasta nearby, pasta on the fly, came up. We walked inside. No one ever came out. And I'm like, well, no one's here? There was a register right there. And I said, oh, here's this register. There was a menu up there. And I said, oh, we order here. So we began to order. You build your pasta bowl. It was a really unique concept. It was decorated really nicely, but it was
Please
very
tell me a
small.
robot made the food. Please tell me a robot made the food.
No, a robot did not make the food. But they only had one employee in there making the food. And the young lady finally came and looked around the corner, and she said something, and she went back to the back, and the next thing you know, she came out with our food, and that was it. We paid with the tap, and it was like no interaction, nothing. But in my head, I'm like,
Human beings.
I'm wondering what what are they bringing in? This is like, all you doing is come. And there were DoorDash people coming in to pick up orders, of course. But for the most part, that was it. But that's what this is going into.
So listen, let me tell you something. Number one, I welcome it, but I also understand the complexity of it. Because if you give the average 23-year-old college graduate nothing to do, you have destroyed an entire generation.
Right.
Because if they don't get working skills, I started working at 14. So if they don't get working skills, then what good are they going to be? They're going to go back to their mom's basement, 23 years old, unaccomplished, full of debt. The college degree is constantly losing its value. And so, what's going to happen to how do you survive and get a?
Well, another thing too, it really depends on who you end up working under. For the most part, I was fortunate enough to where most of my family was able to. I was able to employ most of my family. My sons work for me, my nephews work for me, and because I came from an educational background, because I have 2 degrees. I have a degree in in business and in telecommunications. So for the most part, education administration.
Okay.
So for the most part, I was able to use a lot of my background to train them on how to run a business. And so even now, my nephew is an accountant. My son is a truck driver. Another one of his friends who worked with me for a long time is a truck driver. So I feel like a lot of what I was able to give them helped with they made their own decisions as far as what they want to do, but for the most part, it kind of helped with the shaping of how to I guess maneuver through this market.
Man, you just broke my heart with the pasta in the bowl because I mean, like, there's this conversation of pay me a fair wage. You ever heard that before? You ever heard when the hashtaggers and the rest of them were saying, pay a person what they're worth, a living wage or whatever.
Right.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but a part-time job is not supposed to pay all of your bills.
No.
They're supposed to pay a part of your bills.
No.
And so what happens is when you look at fast food and all kinds of other things, it's like you need to know that that's designed as a supplemental income.
Right.
All right. Now, I do not love it that full-time jobs maybe not be paying a lot based on inflation, and maybe they haven't had any wage adjustments in decades or whatever. But hear me clearly. The pharmacist never complains about how much they make because they've gone to school long enough. It's the soft skill job.
Right.
Like, bring me this drink. Oh my God, they ain't paying enough. Or like, mop this floor. Oh my God, they're not paying enough. Or you know what I'm saying? Or deliver this.
It's
they're
never
not paying
meant to
enough.
be long term.
So my problem is like, okay, if you want to make more, specialize.
Right.
Okay, elevate the skill. Get away from the tasks of doing things on a redundancy, because that's what AI is coming.
But a lot of it has to do with education too. So,
guess what? The crane operator is not upset about his wage rate. Okay, the architect, nobody, the only people that are fussing are the ones that are in a part-time capacity that have the least amount of education, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And so, you know what? AI is coming for that job because we just can't depend on it, man. Pretty soon they're gonna make the smoothies. Pretty soon, I got in a car in Atlanta last month and nobody drove me to the next restaurant.
Wow.
It was the freaking robot.
Right.
And it told me, welcome, Elliot.
Right.
Sit back, put your seatbelt on, enjoy the ride. And it was using turn signals and everything else, and I was scared, but I was also aware that this is what is necessary when mankind fails.
Right.
So then there's that. Okay, so let's talk about intellectual property, which really means your recipes. You already said that your family it's a family business, and you got a little bit more trust. But how do you deal with these employees that don't want to work, that give you a hard time. You know, they're human. To err is human, right?
Right.
So they're not on time. You know, they're not fit for duty. They're not living the dream or whatever. They want more money, and then you gotta trust them with your multi-million-dollar business. So here's the question: how do you trust somebody who don't even want the job with your inner secrets, the ones that make you successful?
Well, there's a couple of things, because to me, if their mindset is kind of what you're saying, where they're not putting in effort or don't have the energy, they're not going to do anything with it, with whatever they steal. So so for the most part, but initially when I started, I did have NDAs. I did have conversations about what would happen if you decide to take my recipes somewhere or things like that. But, I always went off. My mother always told me it's enough out there for everybody.
Yeah.
So I never looked at it like, you were going to, I did have a friend at one point that did take some of my ideas, and she kind of soft launched selling food and things like that.
Now, did it work?
No.
And that's always the way that the universe rewards you. Okay, is because people who try to take your blood, sweat, and tears and say that I can do that because you make it look easy,
right,
they don't normally work. No. So no two people who steal, no matter what you steal, if done wrong, you'll never be successful with it. So just do me a favor and don't steal, and go get it out the mud yourself.
Yeah.
So big picture, what's next for you?
What's next for me? So right now, I've been here, it'll be a year on September 9th, actually.
Now, why do women have such better control of dates than men? Because I couldn't tell you what the day of the week is right now.
Well, it really it kind of depends on what was happening at that time. And that was a huge transition for me, leaving Houston.
Life change.
It was life changing. So I think that's why I remember the date for the most part. The plan that I had in place is not even what it was when I came. When I came, I had a plan in place in my head.
So you're pivoting?
I did. I had to. Because, and I just don't feel like you're the only person that can hold yourself back. No one else can hold you back. And so once I got to, I want to say November, and I felt like, okay, that's not working. You know what? And there was a lot of, I'm a type of person where it's like, I don't believe when people tell me you can't. Like, no, you're not going to be able to do that. You won't be able to get that permit. Oh, no, they're not going to give you. And so I think that motivated me to do it the way I did. And so once I went through that process, and of course, the system here is slightly different than back home. It's actually a little bit more lenient than back home. So for the most part, but because I knew how to get through those channels, I think I was able to move a little quicker than what I thought. So by January, we were fully permitted out of a commissary kitchen to do our pop-ups and things like that. And so after that, it was like, okay, now you have everything in place. You have the foundation for the most part. Now it's time to hit the road. Like, okay, where am I going to go now? So Mardi Gras was around. So someone reached out to us about doing a pop-up for Mardi Gras. So that was like for like 2 weeks straight. So great. So once that ended, I'm like, okay, what do I do now? So then it became, I had to start reaching out to different people, and was like, hey, I have this pop-up here, and it was all about language at the time, because language to me is what gets you through the door.
Sure. And
it was a network out here that I felt like I hadn't tapped into, and it was a matter of getting into that network. And so I want to say we did pop-ups, we did second lines, but of course, that kind of stuff is like, it just depends on what you're comfortable with, and I wasn't. It was okay, but it wasn't what I was looking for. So then it got to the point where I was like, okay, May, and I'm like, okay, I've been here this long. This has to. It was okay, but it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't.
Yeah, but you're in the gym right now shooting.
Yeah, right.
So guess what? This is what it looks like, and this is what you have to do. So you just keep shooting your shot, and you keep polishing it, because guess what? The opportunity is going to come to whoever seizes it at the right time. Whatever. So
So we did. So what I was getting to was we did. So now we are. We have our standing locations every week where we're at a few bars here. Well-known bars.
So you food trapping.
And food trapping.
And guess what? Forget them crappy, crooked, you say crook ass real estate.
I was like, overhead, it's like right now, I could do without, like having the overhead, having, I wouldn't say I wouldn't do it again. I will, but for now, with the economy where it's at, this right here, I feel like is what's feasible for what we're dealing with and what we're up against.
Handle your business.
So
listen, a couple of things. Number one, I salute you. I give you your flowers because you are a woman. Okay, you drive your own ship. Okay, you don't have a knight in shining armor that's just sitting back writing checks for you, do you?
No.
So you're getting it out the mud yourself, and you have been since day one.
Yeah.
And like I said, I salute you because I do know the struggle. I know how hard it is. Whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. But you out here and you making it happen. You use your creativity. I'm going to steal branding from you. Me and you going to sit down and have a whole masterclass on it, and I'm going to get it from you. So let's talk about cool cups. Can I tell you something? In New Orleans, for me, being a charity hospital baby, it's called a frozen cup. Okay? And sometimes an iceberg.
Right.
So Houston, I'm gonna make y'all mad, but y'all don't know what's going on. It's called an iceberg. So what's this?
Okay, Cool Cup Juice is branded under Exotic Pop. Exotic Pop is one of the largest Black-owned beverage companies in the country, and it's located in Houston, Texas. It is owned by a close family friend of ours, Charleston Wilson, and my brother Keelan Farooq. And so for the most part, this actual brand right here, which is Cool Cup Juice, I branded my own flavor some years ago. And so, of course, I had to bring it here to New Orleans. And,
cherry lemonade.
Yes, cherry lemonade. And, these are the double. So, of course, Texas, we have what we call double cup. Yep. You call them daiquiri cups? Okay, we call it double cup. So the thing is, you get 2 cups and you pour up your drink, and there you have it. So you
physically put 2 cups together?
You physically walk around with 2 cups. Yes.
That's some ignorant shit. You better believe I said it. What? Boy, listen to me. Listen, no, I'm not letting you pass
double
on that.
Cup.
Okay, all right. So if somebody wanted to buy some cool cups, where could they get them from?
If they want to buy Cool Cups juice, usually we have them at our pop-ups, but they are sold by the case. They can visit Exotic, if they want to order on, they can order online actually, exoticpop.com.
Okay.
And if they, if they want to get this particular flavor, we do have an Instagram page, Cupcake Kitchen NOLA. And for New Orleans, for Houston, it's Cupcake Kitchen Houston. But they could send us a message, direct message. All of our locations for our pop-ups are on our link tree. So if you go to our Instagram page, you can click on our link tree and it'll tell you our locations for the week. And
Okay, so just for the record, you're here in New Orleans. You ain't going nowhere.
I'm here in New Orleans.
Okay, all right.
I'm here in New Orleans. I do go back and forth to Houston for special events. We actually have an event coming up on the 13th. It's Vince Carter tailgating event for Texas Longhorns game. So I do go to Houston for pop-ups, but for the most part, I'm here.
Now, what does he have to do with the Texas Longhorns?
Vince, I said the wrong name.
Vince Young.
Vince Young. Oh, I'm sorry.
Vince
I said
Young.
Vince Carter.
You know
Vince
he was
Young.
the best football player in the world for 1 year.
Right. Yeah. Wait a minute.
For 1 year, when he won, didn't they win? Didn't the Texas Longhorns win with Vince Young?
All right.
Yeah. I feel like he should have got the Heisman, or maybe he didn't.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah. Well, that's just me and my little sports. But yeah, he was a great football player at one time.
Okay.
At that time, but
he's doing a lot for Texas Longhorns right now. He has a podcast he just started, actually.
Well, the truth is that he was a big name. That college did good for him. It was a great platform for him to jump off of, and they all helped each other. And so I salute him, and he got to keep doing what he's doing.
Right. So we'll be doing. So we are mobile now. We move around. We do pop-ups. So if anyone, right now we're kind of fully booked during the week. We have about 4 spots we hit every week, but we do, we do special events and things of that nature. Okay,
all right. So if they want to get you for some catering to come get some of that food, or they want to come pull up on you just for dinner time one day during the week, you are always around.
I'm always around.
Listen, that's the only way to make money is to be out here. So listen, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing the journey with me. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to dig into some of the more intricate parts of business, because it is war out here. I commend you. I wish you all the luck in the world. And we're going to drop your Instagram in our bio for this content. But listen, you come back and visit with us, all right?
I will.
Thank you so much, baby. All righty. Business is war. Like, comment, and subscribe. Protect yourself at all times, because it's a war out there. Keep your head up.